Hi everyone, welcome to JavaTechie. In this tutorial, I will show you how to use the Toggle library in a Spring Boot application to enable features during runtime. Okay, alright. Basically, feature toggle is a design pattern that allows you to enable new feature during runtime. The benefit of this strategy is that you can control the feature rollout independently from the deployment process. Okay, so let's consider a use case with Amazon. So when a user opens an Amazon application, then Amazon will show the list of products fetching from his inventory service. That is fine, right? Now assume Amazon wants to provide a big billion sales with an overall 5% discount in each product. In that case, what Amazon developers will do, they will go to the inventory service code and then set product price with discount amount. Then next, they will redeploy the code to the production, right? Let's say again after some day, if Amazon wants to set some different number for the discount, then again they need to do the code change and redeploy code to the production to go live, which is really a painful job to handle. But what if we can do this discount enable and disable without doing any code change or redeploying the code? That is where this toggle feature came into the picture. If you turned it on, then discount will apply on the given product, and if you turned it off, then discount will not apply. Apart from this, also you can release the feature for a certain period to test your scenario, or you can show it to the specific users. Like this, you can set n number of strategy before publishing any feature to the production environment. For example, let's say Amazon enhances user interface, and before he go live, they can test this UI feature with some set of users or with some specific environment. So there are different kind of strategy you can set if you are using the toggle library. This way you can get quick feedback if the new code is working as expected or not before releasing it to the production. Don't worry, I will explain more about the strategy while exploring the toggle library from the user interface. This is really out of the box, isn't it? So let's quickly use this toggle library to understand how to set the toggle feature at runtime. Okay, so without any further delay, let's get started. So I have created one small application. If you will open the application, I have created one product DTO class which contains ID, name, price, and I have some service called inventory service where I hard coded 4 product object. Okay. Now if I'll go to the controller class, let me zoom this for you. I have write one endpoint to show list of product. Okay, and also I have defined one private method to just apply the discount which I have not used yet, but once we'll enable the toggle, we'll verify with discount and without discount. Okay, now I can hit this particular endpoint from my browser. So if I'll go here and if I'll type here localhost 8080 slash orders, I will get these 4 object. Okay, this is what the hard coded object from my inventory service. Let's assume this scenario what we discuss as part of this Amazon use case. Okay, now user is getting all the response with proper number, I mean proper price. Now let's say Amazon want to set some discount, let's say 5%. Then as we discuss, again we need to do the code change. I mean we need to apply the discount, then we need to return the list of product object. But I don't want to do that. For doing a secondary changes or to just doing some feature changes, I don't want to do repeatedly code change and redeploy. I want to achieve that using the runtime. So that is the reason we are going to use the toggle library. Then we'll verify after enabling the discount from the toggle how the number is looks, and without discount how the response is we are getting. Okay, cool. So what I need to do to start with the toggle, first we need to add few dependency. So these are the toggle library you need to add, and you also need to add the actuator dependency to just verify the toggle endpoint. Okay, So let me copy this. I'll go to the pom.xml. So you can add these three dependency. So the first dependency is the toggle starter given by the Spring Boot, and this is the toggle console to just verify toggle library from the user interface, and this is the actuator endpoint to monitor the toggle endpoints. Okay, I mean this is the actuator dependency. Now let me update this. Next, you can define the toggle either in the Java code as a enum or in the application.yml file. So when I say we can enable the toggle, let me show you that. In the application.yml file, I can define the toggle like this, toggle. Okay. Now, what is the feature you want to define? I want to define the feature called discount. Okay. Applied. It's up to you how you want to name your feature. Now once you specify your feature name, next you can define whether you want to by default enable true or false. For now let me enable true. Okay. Next, in our controller class we can validate whether the feature is enabled or not. Okay. So go to the controller class. There is a class given by this toggle library called feature manager. Using that we can validate at runtime whether toggle is enabled or not. Okay. So let me inject that. That is called something feature manager. Yes, feature manager. I can define manager. I can auto edit. Fine. Now next you need to define your feature as well. So I can define something like this: public static final. This is my feature name. Make sure to import it from the correct package. So name of your feature, anything you can give. Since we have defined discount applied in YML file, so better to follow the same pattern. Okay, equal to new named feature or something like this. Yeah, named feature, and give the name of your feature. New named feature. And just define the feature name what you configured in your YML file. Just define that. That's it. Okay. Now using this manager, we can validate at runtime whether this discount applied feature is enabled or not. Okay. So simply what we can do here, we'll just write a condition if manager dot is active of the feature. What is the feature? Discount applied. Okay. So if this feature is active or if it is enabled, then return the product with discount. Okay, so that is the reason I have defined this private method. Just define this and I can pass the list of product. Okay, else if the feature is not enabled, then return the product without any discount. That is what we are trying to validate, right? Fine. Okay, next, since we want to monitor this toggle behavior through the actuator, we need to enable the endpoint. Okay, so go to the application.yml file. Let me zoom this for you. Then next, you can define the management endpoint web exposure. I mean, you can define that attribute, right? Management endpoints web. Then include which endpoint or what is the endpoint you want to include it. You can simply specify TO. Okay, I want to monitor this particular endpoint, so I want to enable it by actuator. That is the reason I have defined here. That is straightforward, right? Now all good. Let's run the code. Now if I'll hit the slash orders endpoint, since I enable the discount, I should get the response in this particular page with some 5% discount on the given price. So we'll just validate that. Then I'll show you how you can disable and enable at runtime. Okay, cool. Let me rerun it. So it's up now. Let's go to the browser. Let me rerun this. Can you see here? The price value got changed. I mean, we are able to apply the discount successfully. Now big billion sales is done. I want to disable this without touching my code. How we can do that? Very simple. First, let's verify the actuator endpoint. We'll verify the name and status of the feature what we have. So that is the reason we enable the toggle endpoint, right? So you can do localhost 8080 slash actuator, right? Actuator. Okay, this one. Can you see here? The name of the feature is discount applied, and what is the status of it? It's enabled. I want to disable it. Let me copy this. Then I will go to the postman. Okay. I want to disable the particular feature. So let me copy this first. The feature I want to disable is discount applied. You can have n number of feature in your application, so it's good to follow a best what I can say, best naming convention. Okay, so that is the reason you need to define which feature you want to enable or disable. So we don't have any parameter, runtime parameter. We can ignore other fields and we can define enable is true, right? I want to make it false. I want to disable it now. Now let me format it. Yeah. Now let's run it. The status got updated. Now if I'll refresh the slash orders, I will get the actual price without any discount. Let's verify it. Can you see here? We are getting the response without any discount. Now again you want to enable it. Simply go to the postman. Just change the status to true. I want to enable this discount applied feature. See here, I am trying to play with the endpoint of the actuator. I am not doing any code change, right? Now if I'll run it, now if I'll refresh this, I should get the discount price. Can you see here? Okay. Next, if you'll think there are so many features, it's difficult for me to remember and trying to hit from the postman, then how I can do that? Don't worry, there is a solution given by the Togglz library. They have provided one admin console. Using that, you can enable and disable from the UI itself. You no need to hit this particular post request. Okay, so how we can do that? The endpoint is very simple. Localhost 8080. Okay, then toggle console. Okay, this one. We are getting the error status code 403. Okay, so as you know, 403 is specific to the security related issue, the access forbidden, right? It means by default this toggle library enable the security. So you have two solutions: either add the security dependency in your code or just disable the security to open this toggle console. Okay, so better let's disable it for now, but it's not recommended in the production. In production you should go with the proper security implementation. Okay, but for testing purpose let me disable it. Console. Okay, secured false. I don't want to secure it for now. Just rerun it. So it started. Just go here, refresh this page. Let me minimize. Can you see here? Since we have only one feature, we can able to see this. And now the feature is enabled, right? So that is the reason you are getting the response with discount price. Now I want to disable it. I no need to hit any postman request or I no need to do any code change. I just want to do it on the runtime from this particular user interface. Just disable it. Okay, let me zoom this for you. Now if I'll hit this endpoint, I'm getting the actual price. Now I want to enable it. Okay, now it is enabled. The status you can see here, it is enabled, right? Now if I'll refresh this, again I'm getting the price value with discount amount. That makes sense, right? Now we are not doing any code change and we are not redeploying the code, but still at runtime we can change the behavior of my code or behavior of my feature. That's fine. Now if you want to set some strategy, I mean your feature can be verified by a specific user, or you want to enable for some certain time period, or you want to restrict role of the user who can access it, those kind of thing you can enable the strategy here. So you can see the action item here. Let me minimize. In the action item there is a drop down called activation strategy. So if you click any of them, you want to restrict the header. If this incoming header is present as part of the request, then only he can do the feature enable or disable, or you want to restrict based on the IP address, or you want to add some scripting API, or you want to validate based on some query parameter, or you want to set some release date. For example, this you can specify the date, or you want to test it for specific environment, okay, or you want to allow the user to enable and disable by a specific name or role. There are so many things you can play with this toggle library. You can set the strategy as per your need, whether it is for specific user or for specific environment or for some certain period of time. You can enable those using this particular activation strategy. Okay, for now I'm just canceling it. Fine. Now it looks good, right? We're able to change the behavior of my feature at runtime. But you might have a question. Still, we have the state of our feature, whether it is enabled or disabled. We are hard coding in our application.yml file. Even though we no need to change here, we can change from the postman or from this particular interface, but still the state of the feature is present in the code. So fortunately, there is a couple of way to persist your state of feature. You can use the database or you can use the file-based state repository. So let's take a small example using this file system. So rather than keep this state in your code, you can make it external to your application. When I say external to the application, you can create a file called, let me create a file called um, let me type something. Okay, let me specify the state. Okay, discount applied. I want to apply, I want to enable it. Okay, and I want to save it in a external file. So what I'll do, I'll save in the desktop. So I'll give the file name as feature dot properties. Okay, I stored it in my desktop directory. Save it. Now I don't want to add here. Even though I will add enable true, and if I will make enable false, the first preference will go to this feature.properties. Okay, so for now let me show you. I make it false here in the feature.properties. And what next? I need to give in my code where is my feature.properties available, right? So what I can do, you can go to the code and you can define here features file. Okay, and you can define the path of your file. So let me define file, then I need to get the path of it. This is the path where I have my file. What is the file name? Feature dot properties. Okay, fine. Now I just make the feature state external to my application. So I have created a file and I have kept the information there. Okay, now I kept here false, but in code I make it true. So we'll see if we'll run the application, what is the behavior, whether it is taking this value or the properties one. Fine. Now if I'll rerun the code, now if I'll go to the browser, if I'll run this, can you see here? Even though we make true the state of the feature true in the code, and in properties file we make it false, so this is taking on the priority. Okay, so always the first preference will go to the external properties file rather than your code state. Okay, now again, if you want to enable or disable, it is up to you. Go with the postman or enable using this toggle library. Okay, now I enabled it. If I'll hit the endpoint, there will be price change. If I'll disable now and if I'll run it, there is no change. Okay, so this is just an example. I mean, to just give you the exact context, I took this Amazon scenario, but you can play with various use case using this toggle library. Okay, this will be really helpful for your project to just do some changes on runtime without touching the code, or if you want to enable some flag and all, that will be the good choice to use the toggle library. Okay, so I found this is convenient way to test new features safely and avoid app redeployment, and this is also straightforward and does not require any depth knowledge to get started, right? So you can give it a try and do let me know in a comment section if you guys have any doubt. That's all about this particular video, guys. Thanks for watching this video. Meet you soon with a new concept.